Do you ever feel like manifestation is just another thing on your to-do list that you don't have time for? Like your spiritual practice is something that you have to do? Honestly, you're not alone because I felt that way too. Something that's really changed my relationship with manifestation is blending it into my lifestyle so that no matter what I'm doing, I'm also manifesting. I call this manifestation as a lifestyle, and it's single handedly made the entire manifestation journey more enjoyable for me. And I've seen my desires show up with a lot more ease. Manifesting as a lifestyle has made manifestation go from feeling like a task to something I just naturally do because it's who I am. If you'd like to learn more about this, I've created a step by step guide for you. I'll link it in my show notes so you can check it out. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Affirmation Addict podcast. And today's episode, I'm talking about everything journaling. And for those of you who know me, you guys know I absolutely love all things journaling, whether it's writing down my affirmations in a journal, pretty journals, or just the power of journaling and releasing things. It's something that I have found so powerful and important in my manifestation spiritual journey. And so today I'm going to be answering a lot of different questions and telling you different techniques about journaling. So if this is something you've wanted to learn more about, this is the perfect episode for you. Hi everyone, my name is Payal Agarwal and I want to welcome you to the Affirmation Addict podcast. Affirmations have changed my life and now it is my mission to help you use them to change yours by using affirmations every day to manifest things your way. My goal is to make affirmations attainable and accessible to every single person, including you, because you have the ability to take control and create your reality. So come with me on my journey and let's see what we can manifest together. Hello, hello. Oh my goodness. I did not even realize it's been 1 month since I have uploaded a podcast episode. I even had some recorded as like backups, and it's literally been so busy and it just has not been a priority of mine to put these podcast episodes up because I've been focusing on really rehoning and re-strategizing my business and what my true goals are. So I think I actually really needed this break, and it was completely unintentional. So I know a lot of you have messaged me asking about it, and I haven't been the best this year about podcasting, but thank you for being patient with me and letting me really understand where I fit into this space and figuring out my place and what really works for me and my strengths. So just thank you for being patient with me. I really can't believe it's been that long. Crazy how time flies. But today I'm so excited to talk about journaling. And for those of you who already know me, you know this is one of my favorite things, but I know there's a lot of questions about it. So I'm going to break this episode down into a few sections, and I'll be talking about why journaling is so powerful, different ways you can journal, and then some kind of the nitty-gritty questions like how often to do it, a couple do's and don'ts, where to get journals, what types of journals I like, so little things like that. So I'll be breaking it down into 3 really big sections. And so the first thing I want to talk about is why is journaling so important? And this is something that really goes back to the root of the way our subconscious mind works. And some people hate writing, some people hate writing things down. But if you think about the way our mind is programmed, we write things down to take notes, or if they're facts, or if they're important, right? Like our subconscious mind, our society knows that if you're writing something down, it is a fact, it's important, and it's something you need to remember. And for me, when I write things down, it's like ingrained in my mind. And that's like if I'm doing groceries or something. That is something so like unrelated to affirmations and spirituality. Anything I write down, I automatically know it is something really important, and so I remember it. And so that's why the art of journaling is so powerful, because as you guys know, or some of you might not know, your subconscious mind does not know the difference between what's real and what's fake. So if you're writing down your affirmations, so say my affirmation is, I live in a beach house in Florida, my subconscious mind doesn't really know if that's fake or real. It assumes it's truth because anything I speak to it is truth, but the fact that I'm writing it down amplifies that truth. And so then through the energetics and the quantum physics and the law of attraction and law of action, my subconscious mind, my body, and my whole aura and energetic field is going to work in different ways to start bringing that beach house in Florida into my reality. And so I'm going to re-explain that in another way, just in case that was like too mind-blowing or too kind of surreal or too good to be true for some of you. So once again, the subconscious mind has no idea between what's real or fake. That's why movies are so powerful. Movies, our mind doesn't know that it's real or fake sometimes, and so you feel all those emotions. And it's really, really important to understand that because you can use that to your advantage. If you really like something or you really want something, keep looking at it, keep thinking about it, keep writing it down, because then your subconscious mind will be like, oh, okay, that's going to be my truth. And so that's how the writing down really, really helps with your subconscious mind and in terms of manifesting. Because the more I write down, I have a beautiful beach house in Florida, the more my subconscious mind will believe that it's true. Maybe not the first time, maybe not the second time, but after 5 or 10 or 15 times, that will be such a truth in my subconscious mind that there's no way that it won't be working to try and bring that into my reality. And so I know the subconscious mind aspect is a little woo-woo and a little out there, but realize that your subconscious mind is just like your higher intelligence. It's a part of every single one of us, and it's your higher intelligence that controls your beliefs and it controls everything. Your subconscious mind has the power to literally attract what it wants and detract what it thinks you don't want. And with the don't want part of it, so say you're writing something down out of fear. A lot of people ask me, is that going to manifest? And like you're kind of journaling and releasing your insecurities. They're like, well, I'm writing it down. Is that going to manifest? The answer is no, because the intention you are writing it down with is to release it out of your body, to release it out of your system, because at some point you need to process these things. Just because you say it once doesn't mean it's going to manifest, because the intention behind it is really what's powerful. If I say, I'm so excited for my beach house in Florida, that's a positive intention. If I say, I'm so scared for my beach house in Florida because there's a hurricane happening, it's not going to manifest in that way because the intention behind it is that you don't want it because of the hurricanes. So I'm trying to kind of break this down into really simple analogies to help people understand that it's so important to write down what you want, even what you don't want, because you need that clarity in your mind. And sometimes keeping it all in your head, it's just too overwhelming for your brain, because your brain has so much other information coming in. Your brain is controlling your body, your brain is controlling your body temperature, your heart rate, all of just the body stuff, let alone processing the environment you're in, you know? And so it's really, really important to take some time, put it down in a journal and leave it in there. And it's so helpful, even if you can't do it every day, but even if you can journal and write things down, write your affirmations down, write your goals down. It's so important because it seems like truth. And there's two sides of it. I've seen that I wrote something down once and the next day it manifests. I've seen that I wrote something down 2 years ago and it manifested today. So the time and how long it takes, how many times you have to write it down, that honestly is irrelevant. It's more about the action of writing it down and intending for it. The fact that I intended for it, I wrote it down as truth, my subconscious mind knows. Maybe I'm not ready for it right now, or maybe it's too soon for me to get my manifestation, but the fact that I wrote it down once even is powerful enough. It might not be powerful if you have a lot of limiting beliefs around that area, but from a overall logical perspective and how manifestation works, one time is enough. The repetition just really helps us as humans because we live normal lives. We are surrounded by people. We have other energies in our life because of our normal, busy day-to-day lives. That's why we need sometimes the repetition of affirmations and the repetition of repeating what you want and saying your life as it already is happening, even if it's not currently in that physical reality. So that's why some of the repetition and all those little techniques come in. But the truth is, the second you set an intention, The universe heard you and it's coming to you some point, somehow, in some way. And so, kind of went off topic, but back to the power of journaling. And so, I really, really encourage you to write things down in a way that excites you. And there's so many different techniques to do this. And so, I'm going to list off like 3 or 4 of my favorite techniques in how to use a journal. And the first one, first and foremost, and the one I definitely do the most, and that's actually how I started journaling, was just writing down my affirmations. And this is also a really great step for you if you're new to affirmations and it's a little uncomfortable to say them out loud. Writing them down is really, really helpful. And that's actually what I did for probably the first like 6 or 7 years of my life, because I started learning about manifestation and affirmations when I was just 12 years old. And so my first technique was writing it down. I didn't feel comfortable doing the mirror work. I did not feel comfortable saying it out loud until I was a little older. And so if you're just beginning this work, highly recommend writing down your affirmations, because your subconscious mind, literally anything pen to paper and the movement of your hands, even writing down those words, your subconscious mind is processing that information and beginning to accept that as truth. Because basically, anything you say or do, your subconscious mind wants to prove you right. So your subconscious mind wants to say like, hey, I found evidence for this in your life. Here you go. You said this, it's true. So your subconscious mind, you're like the boss and they just want everything you do to be right and they're so loyal to you. That is your subconscious mind. So the first thing I do is I write down affirmations, and this is the most consistent way I practice affirmations. Even if I don't have time to say them out loud, I always write it down, and I flip through my journal once in a while because it's really cool to see what I wanted just because I thought of it and how it actually manifested into something that is so important to me now. And it's really crazy to see how your true higher self knows what it wants before your conscious mind knows what you really want. So the first way is to write it down. The second way to use your journal is scripting. So if you've never heard of scripting, it's really basically writing your life story down. And it's so powerful because you're writing it in the present tense as if it is happening, or you write it in the past tense as if it's already happened. Like you're reflecting, like the classic when people think of journaling, they're like, oh, like, dear diary, this happened today. That's basically what you're doing, but you're doing it for your dream life. You're doing that for your ideal life. You're doing that for everything as if it already happened in your life. All your dreams, all your biggest goals, as if they were true. What does your life look like? And so, to give you a better example of it, for me, when I was still working at my corporate job as a consultant, I literally had a page in my notebook and I was so frustrated with going to work every day. I literally hated with all my heart going into the office, being surrounded by these snobby people. I hated it. Like, it drove me crazy. So I wrote down in my journal, literally, I wrote down and drafted my exact day, how it looks today, and I had no idea how I was going to get it. So I wrote down, I wake up in bed next to Tom. I am able to make my own breakfast. I have my morning practice, and it was so beautiful. And then I got on a couple calls. I created some content. I manifested a couple $100 here and there. Then I went to go to yoga or to the gym. And then I cooked dinner. I hung out with Tom, and then we went to sleep. That's literally what I wrote. And I wasn't living with Tom at the time. I definitely was still working at KPMG, so I wasn't working from home. I didn't have time to go to the gym because I worked such long hours. So it was those types of things that I really craved. And I wrote it as if it already happened. And I flipped to that page randomly probably a month ago, and I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly the life I'm living right now, to the T. It was insane. And so I really, really encourage you to try this out. It is so fun because it's such like a freeing feeling to know that your dream life is possible. It is so empowering and motivating. And you can't help but feel good when you're talking about your life in that way. You can't help but feel good when you're dreaming and thinking about like the best day of your life as if it already happened, because your subconscious mind will start to send you those emotions, and it'll start to send you those opportunities to get you to that dream life. There's much higher workings at play, and they know what you really want. They're just waiting for you to declare it. They're waiting for you to want it, and they're waiting for you to believe that you can even have it. And so scripting is probably my second favorite tool that I use with journaling, because it is so fun. And you can do this in multiple different ways. You can do this in multiple versions. Your story can be different every time you write it, because that's just creating more opportunities. Like, the options and opportunities for your life are literally limitless. And so I really, really think that if you've never tried this out, I highly recommend it. Mine was literally just a page long, like a small page of a journal. It took me like 5 minutes, and it literally manifested to exactly that. Like 5 minutes of journaling can change your entire life. And so that's why I think it's so powerful, because sitting down, taking a pen, writing it down on paper for a few minutes even can literally make such a big difference. And that's why I'm such a big advocate of journaling, because it's not uncomfortable to write down. I do understand how it is uncomfortable to say things out loud or look in the mirror and recite affirmations. You don't get that privacy. But journaling and writing things down on paper, you can do this. And if you have an excuse like, I don't have time for it, or I'm at work all the time, or I'm always around people, it doesn't matter, because I used to do this while I was working. I would do this whether I was on a plane, on the train. I would do this at the office, because this was my priority. I could care less what other people thought. If it meant that my dream life was coming to me, then heck yeah, I would do anything for it. And so the excuses, let yourself say all the excuses you want. And once you're done saying those excuses, let your highest self take over and just write it down and just try it. It's so powerful. The excuses, it's not coming from you, so it's not wrong. It's just our ego trying to protect us because it's something different, something uncomfortable, and something new. Our ego tries to keep us in survival mode, and our highest self keeps us aligned with what we truly want and our biggest desires. Okay, so after writing down your affirmations and scripting, my third favorite thing to do with journaling is, it's not really like a technique or anything, but literally anytime I am stressed out or feeling super, super uncomfortable or just not feeling good, I literally just write it down. I'm like, I am so upset because this and this and this. Normally, it is something so petty, and I have a funny story to share with you. One time, we were leaving for a trip, and I had to get done a lot of work, and I was leaving for the airport in a few hours, and I obviously needed internet, and our Wi-Fi broke down, and it was just such a fiasco, and I literally was hyperventilating. I was freaking out. I was crying. I was such a mess over Wi-Fi, and I wrote that down. I literally wrote down, I'm so upset right now because our Wi-Fi isn't working, and within that second, I looked at it and I just bursted out laughing, because I was like, that's insane. Like, there is so much more to life than Wi-Fi. The work can wait. I'm alive. I'm breathing. So it's a really, really good way to release what's bothering you, so then you can actually see it from a second perspective. When you keep what's bothering you, what's hurting you, what's making you sad, anything that's not serving you, when you keep it in your head, it's really hard to detach from it. But when you write it down, it almost releases, like, to me, when I write things down, it feels like the thought is going from my head to the paper. And so my mind just feels a little bit more clear. And that's why I write everything down, because my goal is for my mind to be as clear as possible. Having a crowded mind, most of us know this, it's not the best for us. And so the way that I use this, especially when things aren't making me feel good, is by writing it down. And I already mentioned that it's okay to write down things that are upsetting you, because you're releasing it from your system. You've got to release it. It's not just going to magically go away. You have to either do some healing work, you have to write it down, right? Say affirmations. You have to do something to shift from bad to good. It doesn't just go away. It could be a distraction, but there is an action involved there. So writing it down with the intent of shifting is totally fine. You got to heal. You've got to release. And so don't think that when you're writing down what's really bothering you, things are going to go wrong. And so literally I vent as if I'm talking to my best friend. And the reason I recommend this over talking to somebody about it is because sometimes it's such little things and it's just going to bring the mood down for that person too. And then you're just going to keep talking about it more and more. And the more you talk about it, the more of it you're going to attract. So I highly encourage you, next time you're not feeling your best, you're feeling bad, write it down, vent it out to that journal, because you'll get more clarity than you would if you just complain to somebody about it and just re-continue the cycle of bringing that type of stuff back into your life. And the fourth way that I love journaling is actually something I'm going to have to redirect you to a blog post. So I have a blog post that has little T charts on it. And basically, there's a couple different types of T charts, but there's an exercise that makes you write down what you love and you don't love about yourself. And it's so powerful to write that down to build this relationship with yourself. Another exercise I have is writing down your insecurities and framing over the belief on how you want to reframe that insecurity. And I'm going to dive deep into that actually in the next episode. It'll be all about rewiring your insecurities. But the fourth way is these little T charts. I don't know what to call them yet. I haven't thought of a catchy name or a name that really sticks, but it's basically these different types of exercises I've created in order to kind of help you understand how you're stopping yourself from getting to where you want to be. We don't realize how much we are actually in our own way. And so I've designed a couple of little T chart journal exercises that you literally just make a T on your paper and write it down. And it's so helpful because you're like, wow, you see things from a different perspective, and it allows your subconscious mind and your conscious mind to start thinking a little bit differently. So those are going to be linked in the show notes below, or if you go to my blog, it's called 3 Journaling Techniques if you're just starting out. And so it's literally 3 pictures of different ways you can journal and an explanation on how to really use that. So those are kind of the 4 ways I recommend how to journal and how to use your journal. And one question I really want to answer, because I know 99% of you are going to ask, is how often am I supposed to journal? Once again, like I say, I will never give you a rule on you need to journal 15 times in order to manifest these dreams. It's different for everybody. It's different for you and it's different for me. I personally journal every single day, but some days I miss it and that's okay. I don't get mad at myself, but I do notice that I don't feel good. So I recommend journaling every day, but if you miss a day, do not be hard on yourself. This is a process. You're learning, you're healing, and you're growing. It's not the end of the world if you miss a day in any of your routine or your practice. Just be easy with yourself, have fun with it, and do what feels good to you. But highly recommend every single day, even if it's writing down affirmations. For literally, it takes me a minute to write down like 10 affirmations. And I do write really fast, so I know that sounds crazy, but I write really fast. And so it takes me about a minute to write down 10 affirmations, and that makes me feel so good compared to not doing it. So for me, that's a non-negotiable. But see what works for you and have fun with it, play around with it, and experiment. There's no rules to any of this stuff. And I know it's the most frustrating thing to hear, and I have a whole podcast about the fact that there's no right way to practice affirmations. But I do hope that helps. I do journal 99% every single day. If I miss a day, no big deal. The second thing I kind of want to answer is do's and don'ts with journaling. With journaling, do it with the intention to manifest and to just get clear. Like, you're not doing it from like a results oriented, like, okay, I have to journal in order to get my new job. It's more like, it makes me feel good. If it doesn't make you feel good, then maybe think of a different way you can journal. Maybe think of a different way you can talk to your subconscious mind, but do it with the intention to just feel better, because in the end, you know that your only goal is to feel good. And when you feel good, everything really comes to you. And so try to have a pure and honest intention, not like a results-oriented intention. And then another thing with journaling, I just want to reemphasize, when you write down your affirmations, make sure you're writing those down in the present tense. So affirmations are present tense. Scripting is present or past tense. And so the scripting, the reason that's present or past is because it's like you're journaling a day in your life in the future. And so your subconscious mind was like, oh, that already happened, so here we go. And so those are the do's and don'ts. In terms of what types of journals to buy, any journal that makes you happy. I prefer, like random detail, I prefer unlined journals. And most of you probably already know I'm selling limited edition journals that actually empower women in India. And I'll also link that below. But they're completely handmade, raw, natural, organic, ethically sourced, completely made from recycled paper. So it's really, really cool because it's literally paper pulp that is made to use that paper. So this journal is made out of things that are generally completely thrown away. None of the aspects of the journal are sourced specifically for the journal. It's literally waste beautifully remade, like so beautifully remade. And I'm only selling these until they sell out. So I probably have about like 50 or so left. And the really cool thing, and my favorite part about these journals is when you buy one journal, you are actually providing for the entire month's worth of food, work, and education for the women who made these journals. You'll be sponsoring, basically, it comes out to about one woman plus part of her family for the entire month, just because you bought one of those journals. And these journals are so great, so highly recommend. It's just something that's a passion project of mine. My goal has always been to do something with women in India because that's like my home country, and I feel so proud to be part of that and have so much of India in my childhood. So this was just something that's always been a part of me, to empower and support women from over there who might not be as privileged. So if that's something you're interested in, the link is also below. But other than that, there are no specific rules to journaling. It's just understanding the fact that journaling is so powerful in helping your subconscious mind understand what you really want. And it helps your subconscious mind really, really attract and get in alignment with the vibration of the things that you really desire, because your subconscious mind believes that anything written down is complete truth, is ultimate truth. It's like taking notes in class or writing down your to-do list. It's important, it's real, it's true. So that's why the art of kind of putting your pen to the paper and writing out your heart on paper is really, really effective. And I've seen so many things from my journals manifest. 99% of my manifestations are probably the things that have come from my journal. And that's why I'm such a big advocate of it and writing down the affirmations in your journal. And if you need more inspiration for which affirmations to write, go to my feed. You know there's hundreds of affirmations on my feed, whether they're in the caption or just as the pictures. There's thousands you can choose from, so have fun with it and do what feels good to you. So here is to your journaling, and if this episode was helpful for you, please, please, please let me know. It means so much to me when I get to hear how the episode helped you, if you took notes on it, if you started journaling because of it. I absolutely love hearing about it, and it means the world. I read every single one of your DMs. I read every single one of your reviews on the iTunes app. So in any way, if you can just communicate with me how this episode helped you and just how you liked it, what was your favorite part about it, it's so helpful for me. And if you want, you're more than welcome to screenshot it, tag me, and I'll reshare it as well. So have a beautiful rest of your day, and just thank you for spending some time with me. Mwah! Have a beautiful day. That's all I have for you guys, and I just want to say thank you again for spending some time with me. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, head over to my social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to my website if you want to subscribe to my email list, which is affirmation-addict.com. I cannot wait to hear from you guys, and I will talk to you guys super soon. Have a good one, you guys. Bye!